Hello, everyone, and welcome to Coffee with Convery, the podcast where we dive deep into the journeys of dynamic leaders and innovators. Today, we're thrilled to have Justina Ikwu, a powerhouse in strategy and transformation, joining us. With an MBA from Queen's University and an honors of Bachelor of Health Sciences from the University of Ottawa, Justina is a well-rounded professional dedicated to driving growth and sparking change. Justina's experience spans across financial institutions and social impact initiatives, and she currently serves as the president of the Canadian Association of Urban Financial Professionals. Her journey is marked by a commitment to empowering underserved communities and fostering financial empowerment. Throughout her career, Justina has excelled in leading cross-functional teams, navigating complex challenges, and pioneering innovative solutions. From her role at RBC as a senior manager of strategy and transformation to her impactful work at TD and H&R Block Canada, she has consistently demonstrated her leadership abilities and innovative prowess. Join us now as we explore Justina's inspiring story, her dedicated social impact, and her vision for the future. Justina, welcome to the podcast.
Thank you so much.
So excited to have you. It's been great
Yeah,
seeing you here. And so maybe what we'll do is we'll start with some pretty fast rapid fire questions just so the audience gets to know you a little better.
of
So
course.
what are your pronouns?
She and her,
She and her. Awesome. What do you think is your superpower?
equal parts brilliance and charisma. Whether it's warming people with my charm and strategic mind, I make an effort to make an impact.
Awesome. Awesome. I love this one because we always talk about senses, but we never always talk about smell. So what is your favorite smell?
I love scents. I love
Oh,
smelling.
do. Oh, so that's a good question.
It's part of my identity. Like when I walk into a room, people can smell me and they know I've been there. So right now my favorite smell is a combination of rich wood and an overdose of berries. So like bitter and sweet.
Ah, very, very nice. That's awesome.
Mm.
Um, Tell us, what is the best compliment you've ever received?
Someone who is always looking to get better. I like that.
That is a good compliment. That is a
Yeah.
great, and it speaks volumes of who you are. That's awesome.
Mhm.
Guilty pleasures, go-to snacks. What's yours?
Fried plantain. I don't know if that classifies as a snack, but I have to
No,
actually make it. I love fried plantain.
I had some of that recently at an event, and I was like, I hung out at that table quite a bit. It was
I
good.
know. I
It's
am
good.
always looking for the fried plantain. So my go-to
Yeah,
snack or some brain food. So nuts, berries,
nice, nice. Um, what's your favorite holiday?
Christmas.
Christmas.
Everyone is happy at the end of the year. We're reflective.
Nice.
They're good
Nice.
deals.
That's true too. We all start somewhere. What was the very first job you had?
I was a sales associate at Nine West. It's a shoe store for contemporary go-to fashion forward women.
Yeah,
Yeah, I sold shoes to those individuals, and it was quite an experience where I really learned how to connect with people. And it's such an
awesome.
important skill. Yeah.
It's a good skill builder, people doing like the retail side of things and engagement and yeah, right?
Yeah, I think it's also because you don't really know who you're gonna meet every day, so you can plan for your day. You just have to engage
Ah,
with them. Yeah, it's
that's pretty, I never thought of it that way. You're right. Absolutely.
yeah,
Um, if you had to pick, this is the last one, and then we'll jump into your background and
yeah.
stuff. If you had to pick one word to describe yourself, what would it be?
I am an enigma,
And
I've
then
been told. Yeah.
okay, okay. Interesting. I like it. All right. Well, let's jump into your background, which is incredible. You maybe we could just start with like your career journey. Can you walk us through a little bit of like your career journey? What inspired you to pursue your path and strategy and transformation? Kind of where did it all start?
Wow. So my journey is one of strategic curiosity, resilience, self-leadership, seizing opportunities driven by purpose and impact. That's a good way to describe my journey. But like I said earlier, my first job started in the sales world. And I used that to get a leg up, and the next opportunity was a leg up. So ideally, by the time I was done with my undergraduate degree at the University of Ottawa, I was able to pivot from a science education background to financial services, because I was able to apply my people/relationship building skills I acquired working as a sales associate to work in client representative roles in financial service institutions. So that was really my first lesson in adaptability. So
Mm-hmm.
just switching over, and as a core skill in my current role right now. So when I got into financial services, started out in the H&R block, because in my last semester, I took a tax training course with them, and I did that for 3 months.
Good skill to
Wrote
have, by the way.
Yes, it was a quick pivot,
It's a life
going from,
skill.
it's a life skill really, and when life, like you said, it's life is what you make it. So I saw this opportunity, and as an international student back then, trying to balance passion and pragmatic choices,
Yeah.
financial services was the safest pivot for me. So I took the course, I got certified, and fortunately, I got hired to work for the H&R block right after school. So that was my first experience in direct problem solving because one, I'm connecting with people, I have to understand their situation, I have to be creative within some constraints,
Yeah.
right? And I also have to make sure that they come back to me. So when you look at it in the work I'm doing right now is I'm still working with different people every day, solving different types of problems. So that's when I started building the core problem solving skills, and I realized I enjoyed the dynamic nature of like solving different problems every other day. So that was a direct translation into my pivot into banking. So I started working at TD Canada Trust. Started out in account operations actually.
Okay.
So there I was able to get a leg up yet again. So in this case, I said, I'm going to seize this opportunity. I did not care if this is an entry level job. I want to be the best at what I'm doing. So I was the best at what I was doing, so much so that I got promoted a year after. And during that role, I was able to still apply the people connection skills, understanding different products, being able to apply it to solve problems, being able to ensure that I understood the metric of performance and how I wanted to show up as well.
Right.
And those are still skills I'm applying till today. So when I got into my second role, I was still very focused on core problem solving because now I was monitoring a fraud portfolio. So I have to look for trends and so make decisions on the fly, and there's a lot of pressure. If you make the wrong decision, the bank would lose money.
Yeah.
So I think that was my first core experience working under pressure, right? In terms of just being able to understand how to work with the information you have to make the best decision, a skill I'm still using to this very moment. So at this point in time, I said, okay, I've learned about working under pressure. I was able to apply the people management skills, the adaptability skills. I was like, okay, I want to do something else. So I got promoted to get into credit underwriting. So in credit underwriting, still core problem solving skills. Now, even bigger pressure because now I have to structure deals, it's a different set of rules. I have to learn all those new products.
Yeah.
So there was that quick pivot yet again that required me to adapt. So using those core skills I'm still using right now, adaptability, core problem solving skills, um, being ambitious, being bold and saying, I'm going to seize this opportunity and I'm going to learn, right?
Yeah.
So I got into the role and I was in the role for 8 months. And at this point in time, I was really thinking about what I want to do next, right? I looked around, I said, okay, I want to solve more ambiguous problems. I want more leadership opportunities, and an MBA was the next path for
Move.
me.
Wow.
And that's where I was able to really pick up some leadership skills, some self-reflection tools, being able to work in dynamic teams, solve more complex problems. And that's when I knew I was very interested in strategy work, transformation work, innovative way of thinking about problems around how you engage with people, how you're thinking about your strategy, even accepting the fact that you have a strategy that it's not the most effective one. Like having that real talk in the mirror and saying that maybe we're too late to the party. Maybe we need to think about how else we could win in this space. So yeah, it was just a different learning experience for
Yeah.
me. And I knew that after grad school, I wanted to keep on working in this space, working on different big problems. And that's how I got into the leadership development program at RBC. Um, that gave me opportunity to solve different problems across different areas of the bank. And as you know it, they were really focused on strategy and transformation.
Yeah.
So from digital strategy, client segment strategy, product, people and talent, just to really understand all the core pieces of the bank at a very high level within a 2-year period. So I was able to take that experience and validate my interests in strategy and transformation. And I hope to continue to pursue this path of being a transformation leader, being able to go in and identify what's wrong, where are the opportunities to really elevate how we work, the brand we represent, how we want people to perceive our brand.
Yeah.
Um, just make big, bold choices that people might shy away from and see what if it actually works versus what if it doesn't work. So that's what got me here, and that's what I'm hoping to achieve down the line.
That's great. What an interesting career path. And what I love about listening to you and describing it, taking some risks, grabbing onto something new, always learning. I think those are some really key things that are really important. And if I think about our listeners right now who are, possibly graduating, looking for that first job,
Mhm.
or moving from a first job to another job, it's hard sometimes to push yourself and to think differently, but that mindset of always learning, always growing is so important. Um, can you talk a little bit about maybe now or share with us maybe an opportunity where, because moving in those positions and doing those things, we all sometimes have different um, confidence levels, right? Of how, okay, well, I'm going to try this or whatever. But what were some of maybe your challenging moments? Did you have any that you were able to overcome and kind of think through in moving or shifting?
Definitely,
Yeah, yeah,
definitely. I think the challenging moment really makes your victories worth it, right? Because
love that.
what are you gonna compare it to? Um, so, so there are two main pivotal points when I felt most challenged in my professional career. So the first one is getting into the workforce. So this is one of my barriers. One, I lived in Ottawa and there was a strong population of people of color, but I just didn't know where to get guidance, right?
Yeah,
My priorities were focused on, okay, I want to do something I'm passionate about, but I also want to get into the workforce so that I can pursue my permanent residency
yeah,
and get my ROI of being in the country for the past or X amount of years. So those were my um those were my options at that
yeah,
point in time. So when it was time for me to get into the workforce after school, it sounded a bit insane to me that I studied health sciences, took a minor in psychology, and I'm gonna go work for the H&R blog. And there was that intern. I guess that really leads me to the second
yeah,
point, which is internal credibility. So it took me a while to accept the fact that I will not be a science professional. I would not be a scientist. I would not be a cardiovascular surgeon. And I think people don't really talk about just that mental pivot
yeah,
of leaving that idea of who you thought you were going to be and chasing what's in front of you and seizing the opportunity, right? So it was a challenge for me to just overcome this new path I had chosen to
yeah.
get into the workforce, to choose to be where I was and make the most of it. So yeah, that was a very critical time for me.
Yeah, it's really Thank you for sharing that because it's really interesting, like, and listening to this and for the listeners too, like, to look at something and say, you know what, it's not really for me. I'm going to go this way now. Um, it 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 might feel challenging, difficult, and scary all at the same time, right? But in the same token, I think there's things in life where you do need to say like, well, maybe this isn't the right thing. Maybe I should try what I'm really passionate about and figure that one out. So congratulations on like those moments because those are pivotal moments in your life where you're like, I'm gonna do something
Hmm.
else. So thinking about maybe some of the listeners too, got a lot of young people listen to this podcast as I shared with you and people making career shifts and different things. So maybe this would be appropriate for a few people is what do you think if someone's looking to approach a career and strategy transformation? What would you advise them to be thinking about, or what advice would you give someone who wants to pursue that as an option?
It is very rare you meet someone that says, I want to pursue a career in strategy and transformation.
Yeah,
I find that just an interest people pick up and they decide to pursue the path. So you either pick up the interest through school or you start having conversations with people who work in the space.
it's true.
Um, it's true, or you exhibit those skills of a lead in this space, and someone tells you that, hey, do you know that you'd be great at this work? And you're like, oh, maybe. So those are the entry paths and the signs you could look for to really ask yourself, is this something I want to do?
Yeah,
So let's assume that yes, you want to do it. Okay, great. So first of all, you have to cultivate a curious mindset, right? We are
yeah,
transforming. We cannot be stuck to an idea. So I think having a scientific mindset helps because you're very curious to understand why things work the way they do,
yeah,
what are the drivers, what can you control, what can't you control? If you do X, how does that affect Y? It's like titration, right?
yeah,
And you're innovating with a plan. And when you have a plan, there's this sense of comfort of taking risk, right? And you just have to know that sometimes the plan might not work, but the goal is still the same, right?
yeah,
So that leads to being comfortable in accepting failures, using your strategic mindset to keep you safe. Like you have to think about, okay, we want to transform, we want to be bold, but how can we do this in a way that keeps us sustainable? Yeah, sustainable. Like there's longevity in our plans and
right.
like in the plan that we're setting for the future. And also the core of this job is problem solving skills, not just independent or individual problem solving skills, it's collaborative problem solving skills. You're always
Yeah,
working with somebody else to either identify a problem, come up with an approach to solve the problem. Sometimes you are communicating your approach and selling the
yeah,
solution. So that leads to being able to have that storytelling skills, really understand how do you want to present this insight you've identified to transform the way the business works or how someone thinks, right? Or impact the culture. Like people don't really take the time to think about how they present an idea. And then there's also the aspect of understanding that in strategy and transformation, sometimes you're designing the strategy, sometimes you're delivering the strategy. And strategy is so broad.
yeah, very true.
So there are different ways to look at it. There's strategy in all aspects of the components of a business, so marketing, HR, operations, product, name it, global location strategy. There's just so many ways to look at it. And when you realize what are the core skills that you need, regardless of where you are, is really strategic thinking, problem solving, storytelling. If you're on the delivery side, it's project management skills. So you need to be good at coordinating. You need to be good at adapting to different schedule changes or priority changes, and deliver quality work on the fly, right? So you need to ask yourself, do I have the skills? Am I ambitious enough to get into this role and do the dirty work and,
Yeah,
really drive towards that outcome? You are always on the mission when you're transforming anything. And it's from even understanding the problem and getting to a point of like, okay, we've all agreed on the problem, this is the solution, delivering the solution. It's always an ambitious mission. So you have to have the drive to be in this type of role, to be excellent at your job.
That's so cool. I love the way you've described that whole area because I think what's great about
Mhm.
it is you're sharing so many of those human skills that come into play, right? And so many of the things that and you I heard you shifting between them all, which shows that you're tapping into so many different skills, right, to be successful.
Yes.
So even able to pivot through that and understand reading the room, understanding if you're selling your idea correctly, if the there's a lot going on.
So it's like driving, you always
Yeah,
check
yeah,
it.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
But I'm still
Yeah,
going
I
in the
get
same
told I look
direction.
I get told I look too much to the left and right and out in front of me sometimes, but I'm like, but I think you got to
Yeah.
do that too. You got to look a little bit around yourself, right? Maybe we
Yeah.
can shift. I want to shift a little bit to more of the diversity and inclusion side. And I know you have such a huge commitment to inclusion, and it's how we've really gotten to know each other better and work together. As someone who's actively engaged in diversity and inclusion initiatives, what changes have you seen in the industry over the years, and what really does need more to be done?
Well, great question. It's always important to reflect on how far we've come and where we're heading. So looking at how far we've come, I have identified that there are more activities and enabling initiatives that empower diverse groups. I've seen more collaboration between participants in the ecosystem, more encouragement towards entrepreneurship within diverse segments, because that is a key to success in building generational wealth. I've seen more activities in distribution of funds into the community through the Black Opportunity Fund, for instance. When you think about entrepreneurship, you can think about the Black Founders Network, Nebulium, if I'm not mistaken. But you can look them up. They're actively participating in developing this ecosystem of entrepreneurship and innovation within the Black community as well.
Mhm,
Um, in terms of the future, where we're
mhm.
headed, what I would like to see is a more elevated approach towards accountability for metrics of the initiatives being delivered to empower different segments of diverse groups. So we're doing okay, but we could really hold ourselves more accountable to not delivering on our goals.
Yep,
I think we need to have clearer goals. There needs to be more transparent governance model across corporations and community partners that participate in this ecosystem because at the end of the day, we are impacting lives, right?
absolutely, absolutely.
And it's either everyone is playing their role in this ecosystem. So I'm saying that we just need transparency across the board on what is the impact you've made. You need to let people know. You need to talk about what is your goal and your actions to drive towards reaching your target, right?
Yep.
And holding them accountable. So there's that. And I would also would like to see us making more effort on building on existing initiatives and organizations. Less is more.
Hmm.
Um, so instead of distributing funds to stir up new organizations that already do the same thing that somebody else is doing, how do we put funds into organizations that are already established and have shown potential for scale? How do we support them, right? Do they even know that they could do more, right? So I don't know who would hold the hand or who will be responsible of writing that story, but it is an area of opportunity. And in terms of exploring areas of opportunity, what else could we be doing to support the community? Because I feel like we've stretched ourselves across different verticals of enablement. So from like fund distribution, scholarships, entrepreneurship, homeownership, like what
Hmm.
else could we be doing? And is there a data repository that captures what the community wants, right? Like everybody has their own set of data of what they capture from the service they offer to different segments within those groups. How are we leveraging that data set? So I just think that we're all working in siloed and we cannot come together to talk about what have we done and where can we go as a collective, right? So that's
Yeah,
what I would like to see moving forward. And that would indirectly lead to driving more interconnection between organizations who are driving towards the same vision, right? One way or the other, it's just our objectives are different. So yeah, those are my thoughts.
Yeah, no, it makes a lot of sense. And I think that intersectionality of that stuff coming together is so critically important, right? Because when you look
Mhm.
at, sometimes when you talk about diversity and inclusion and people are looking at it, um, there actually is so much more we could be doing on a more frequent basis and a more mindful basis, especially when you look at the diverse populations of clients and the people you all work with. And I think about how representation is so important in all business and everywhere in the community, because people want to see other people that are like them or, that have those experiences, right, as well. And so it is important. I also wanted to ask you because I know, and first of all, I can't think of a better president for CAUFP. I mean, you
Thank
are
you.
you are the epitome of like leadership and
Oh wow.
positivity. I'm gonna make you blush here. Um,
Um,
but honestly, for those that don't understand CAUFP or maybe don't know about it, I mean, I've been engaged with you in the organization for a number of years, and
mhm.
I think there's so much greatness that goes on there. But could you maybe talk a little bit about what is CAUFP, first of all, and then what are some of the key goals and initiatives you're currently focused on?
Great question. So CAUFP, also called CAUFP. I just call it CAUFP to avoid that tongue twister that people go through.
Yeah,
So it is an acronym for the Canadian Association of Women Financial Professionals. It has existed for 27 years and counting now. I am the
that
20th
is
president.
amazing. That is, see,
And
even just the year, sorry, I even forgot it's been that long. Thank you. Sorry to
it's
interrupt. That's cool.
no, it's been that long, and I always have to set the context because this is an organization that is a representation of legacy, dedication, right? If you think about what we've done over the years, it's impactful work, and we've really created a sense of community within the Black professionals in the financial service industry in Canada. So 27 years ago, a group of Black professionals traveled to the United States to attend a conference under, I think it was called UFSC. Well, it eventually became UFSC here in
Yeah,
Canada, but it was the American chapter of
gotcha.
UFSC. And they saw what they were doing, where they were able to get all the Black professionals together, and they were able to share their knowledge and network and really create that ecosystem of support and empowerment. And you're like, we need to do this in Canada. And that's how they brought that chapter to Canada in 1986, led by the late Paget Warner. Um, and then we had a series of presidents that came after him that just continued building our legacy of empowerment. So what we do is our goal is to drive the economic empowerment of Black professionals in the financial service industry through um, targeted programming, collaborative partnership between corporations, universities, and community partners. And most importantly, creating a sense of community and network so we can all have that collective purpose. And we do that through different programs. So we have programs that focus on youth engagement. So we have our high school summits, the youth summit. We're also looking to explore how to enable the talent piece within our youth engagement program and our membership in general.
Hmm.
To ensure that we are identifying the skills within our membership base, being able to profile them properly in front of our partners, equip them with the right skills to be job ready, right? And place them there and increase their chances of actually elevating their lives.
Hmm.
So real impact. We also look at networking. So networking is a big part of our pillar. At every event we always have a networking session. We have social networking, professional networking as well. We also provide professional development workshops. So it could be on soft skills or hard skills, or technical skills. This year, I took a different approach, which is focused on exploring an idea. This year, I'm exploring an
Yeah.
idea, focused on offering skill-based resources to our members are interested in upskilling. So we've partnered with some service providers, well, Black service providers, to provide leadership workshops or training workshops when you look at business analysis skills or product management skills that are required in the future of work.
Yep.
We want to make sure that if our members are interested in adopting the skills, we are enabling them or removing that barrier to get there. So we covered some, if you're a member and you apply, you get a heavy discount to access this course and participate in the workshops. So that's how we lean into professional development, for instance. Well, that's a refreshed way, the refreshed version of how we're going to lean into professional development, but it's still in the first iteration, and next year we'll refine and get better at what we're doing. We also have thought leadership. So thought leadership is a key component of how we influence and inspire at CAUFP. So being able to bring thought leaders from different industries, from different ethnic backgrounds to speak to the line of work, educating the community, inspiring by sharing their journey. And we've done this through different versions. So like fireside chats, it could be a panel discussion on economic outlook, for instance. It could be a fireside chat on board readiness. We had that recently. And I think it really shows that we're trying to cut across all segments of professionals, regardless of your age, regardless of your background, your status. We want to remove any barrier to your development. If we can enable you to get it through our partnership, through our programming, that's what CAUFP stands for, and that's what we're driving towards. So that's it.
I love it. Love it, love it, love it. I can't think of a better person at the helm and trying new things. That's what it's all about, right? Like you said,
Always about yeah, like
you got
I
us,
said, we
right?
need to transform, and it's
There you go.
it's like I'm so serious about it.
Of
So
course.
and it's infectious, and you can see my team how they lead and how they think about bringing up ideas. I'm so encouraging. Like they just
Yeah.
give you the vision, run, create, right? I love
What
it.
if because I want to also share with people listening, if what if they want to get involved with it? How do they get involved? Yeah.
Great question. So to get involved, you can go to our website, caufp.ca. We do have a get involved page. So if you want to volunteer, there are tons of opportunities to be part of our working team. So our working team has three different levels. We have the board of directors, which are the VPs and the chapter leads. And then we have the enablement team, which are directors, and then we have volunteers that support the enablement team. And the beauty is that the people who are on the enablement team were volunteers last year, and the people who are on the board of directors were on the enablement team last year. So there's that progression. So you can join and
Awesome.
really learn different aspects of our operations, from marketing and communications to partnerships to programming to strategic initiatives,
Yeah.
program strategy and delivery. Tons of experience to gain from our volunteer pool. Right now, we have 41 plus volunteers.
That's amazing.
Uh, that's amazing. We have a volunteer experience lead now, ensuring that we understand the needs of our volunteers, we're driving that connection, and most importantly, instilling pride in the work they do. So please join and be part of our story. If you want to be a member, there's a membership page on our website. If you are an employee of specific organizations, you can go to our website to look at how to access the discount code to become a member. And if you have any questions, you can just send me a message on LinkedIn. I am very accessible. Or send me an email at president@caufp.ca. So, and follow us on all social media platforms. So CAUFP. And yeah, looking forward to connecting and meeting you at our next event.
Awesome, awesome. I wanted to make sure we plug that because I mean the work
Yes,
you're doing is incredible.
thank
And
you.
the organization I can't say enough about the and what it is, it's the people that make it. Right? The
Yes.
people that are there and I've been honored to be part of some of the events and it's one of my most favorite organizations to work with. So thank you for inspiring me and others with everything you're doing. I know we touched a little bit on networking and mentorship. I want to ask one question and then I want to ask you one more. I know we're getting close to the end, but when you think about networking and mentorship, and I know you hit upon it with CAUFP, obviously, about how it's important, but what do you, what would you give? I think this is a tough part because people sometimes look at networking and mentorship as inanimate objects, like you got to go do this or find someone. But what advice would you give to mentors and mentees to try to get the best out of that relationship?
Now, that's a great question. So there's networking and then there's mentorship.
That's right.
Um,
They're two different things.
Two different things, but you know what?
Related.
One- They're related, yes. One could lead to the other, and one is embedded in the relationship. So, like, I think when I think about networking, I think about it as like connected.
Yeah,
That's a good way. I don't,
I like that word better.
yeah, you're connecting with someone to explore shared interest. That's why I say it.
Perfect.
And to explore shared interest before you initiate conversation, you want to understand what are my intentions, right? Why do I want to engage with this person? If I come to an event, why am I going to this event? Is there someone I want to meet here? What is my goal? And I think that really determines how you show up. Like, what are you talking about when you meet people? What do you want to know from them? Right? What do you want them to know from you? So, and I think that's the intentionality behind how you want to connect will take away the awkwardness because you're just there exploring, you're curious, and you
Yep.
actually really want to gather information. So that is the one thing I would lead with when you think about networking. So if you have a networking event, just really take your time to plan or reflect on why you are going there. What are your goals, right? And just go there, have fun, be curious, and just look at it as you don't have to sell yourself to anyone. You are actually going there to connect, right?
Yep.
You're going there to, you're curious. You want to learn about other people, what you're doing from the angle that tackles your goals, right? And also learn about their goals at the same time and see how you can add value. So that is where I think you start building that connection where you find someone that you just organically connect with. You guys have the same interest. The person is also intentional about why they're there,
Yep.
right? You connect, you follow up, you build relationship, and with time, there is trust. That
Yeah.
psychological safety is there.
100%.
Um, and they get to understand your goals and what you want, and vice versa. And then there could be that mentor-mentee relationship that develops over time, right? And I think there's like the most organic way to get into a mentor-mentee relationship where you connect on shared grounds and interests and common values and how both of you could support each other. And then when you look at the mentor-mentee relationship, it's, just even saying the mentor-mentee, there's just that hierarchy. And
Yeah, very
I don't
true.
like, I'm just over it. I'm over it, to be honest. Um,
Me
so,
too.
but I understand the need to acknowledge the years of experience or why that person might be considered a mentor in this case. But I think that's like a dynamic role because it depends on the context, right?
I love
So
that.
like,
Love that.
yeah,
Love
because
that.
so it's not because you're building a relationship with a human being. Let's start with that, right? And you have the experiences you bring that could benefit that person and vice versa. It doesn't really matter the age, right? It's just being open to perspective. And like I said, once you develop that psychological safety, you would just naturally like lead to that type of connection, like that type of relationship. And then when it comes to, sometimes people go out there to network because they want to get a job. Like that's why people, I mean, that's a different type of networking. There you can be more specific and say, okay, I'm going to go to a networking event where there are recruiters. So the conversation is geared towards getting a job,
Yep.
right? But if that's not the case and you just want to connect and you're curious to learn about different industries, then you need to be very wary of just making your relationship transactional, right? You need to really focus on building that connection. And when you build a connection, the person gets to know your aspirations and vice versa. And when it's time for you to seize an opportunity that would take you towards your aspirations, that person will just naturally help you because they are now invested the same way you're invested in their lives. So,
100%.
so yeah, so that
Super. That is probably some of the best advice I've heard in a long time. I love that you changed the word from networking to connecting because that's really what it is. Networking feels so awkward. And the human side of it, like, and the mentor mentee. Like, do you know how many young people mentor me? Younger than me, I should say, not young, younger
yeah,
than me, mentor
yeah.
me on certain things that I don't know a lot about. And how do I learn? From all generations. And I think those that open themselves up to that idea and that mindset, life can be pretty cool when you do that, right? Be
Imagine.
vulnerable, share, right? All right. Well, one last question. I want to really take this home on this one and think about it because, you know, a lot of what you do, a lot of what you represent in the community and with young people, and what I see all the time, whether it's socially, in person, on media. But thinking back to what advice would you give to young Black girls starting out, and thinking about what message would you like to share with them? Because you've obviously gone through your career, you're at a certain stage, and there's always continuing things to do. But for some of the maybe specifically young Black girls that might be listening to this podcast, what would you tell them and what would your advice be?
Hmm. I would say dream big. Dream big, you know,
Love it.
be ambitious, have goals. Don't let your experience define you. Um, you're a human before you're anything else, be it woman, Black. Those things don't define you.
That's right.
You define who you are. And I think just having that mindset, like being ambitious, being courageous, being authentic, being real, will get you far. To get you far in life, people see the traits, people
Hmm.
gravitate towards your goals, and you inspire people. So I will leave them with that, really.
I love that. Thank you.
Yeah,
Yeah, thank you so much. And I also want to thank you so much for being a part of today.
it was a
Um,
pleasure.
this was a beautiful moment for me too, and it was great to have you on the podcast and sharing your knowledge and wisdom and really your human insights with the audience who this is for. This is for young people, people transitioning careers, other things, and really to try to look at success coming in different formats, shapes, and sizes. And I couldn't think of a better person to have on today with me, and it's been a pleasure before this long Canadian weekend. But thank you, Justina, for being part of it. I really value our relationship, friendship, and I also love that you're on here with me today. So thank you.
You're welcome, Brian. Great job in empowering the people.
Thank
Just
you.
thank you. We appreciate it, we see it, and we encourage it.
Thank you so much. It's awesome. Um, Okay, so for our audience, if you like what you heard today, please share this podcast on whatever platform you listen to. On Spotify, you can give us a rating as well. You can also follow Coffee with Convery on Instagram, where all our episodes are shared, and you can get a link in the bio to all of the episodes we've had over the last 4 years now. So we're going strong. And thanks again, everyone, for being a part of today, and looking forward to seeing you all next time. Thank you so much, and Justina, have a great weekend.
You too. Take care, everyone. Bye.